Sophie was the hard worker, the one who put in all the effort, only for Melissa to sail in at the end and collect the trophy. Not that she resented Melissa for it. She loved her like a sister. In fact, she loved her more than her own sister, Georgina, with whom she had very little in common, as there was almost a whole decade between them. "Come on, what are you waiting for?" Melissa threw the comment over her shoulder as she used the key to open the front door, which needed a good shove to dislodge it, and disappeared into the cool, dark hallway. "Christ, it's a bit drab, isn't it?" she added. "And so it begins," thought Sophie, following her friend into the house, noting that she had to duck slightly as she stepped over the threshold, unlike tiny, perfect Melissa. "So, how are things going with Steve, then?" Melissa's huge brown eyes danced mischievously as she spoke. They were lying on separate, squashy, chintz sofas facing each other, divided by a pine coffee table in the middle. "Fine?" Sophie lifted up her foot and pretended to examine her sore toe. She didn't want to have this conversation. She knew Melissa thought she and Steve were too young to have been in a boring relationship for so long. Melissa rolled onto her side, and Sophie could feel herself starting to redden under Melissa's suspicious gaze. "Fine? Talk about damning with faint praise." Sophie sighed and turned to face Melissa. "Well, I'm not sure what else to say. It's fine." "No, it's more than fine. It's good. End of story." "Bollocks." Sophie smiled, despite herself, at Melissa's directness. "Okay, well, it's just... Oh, I don't know." She tailed off and sat up, lifting her mug of tea from the coffee table and taking a long, soothing sip. Melissa mirrored her actions and looked over at her in concern. "Soph, this isn't like you. What's the matter? I thought you and Steve were love's young dream." Sophie shrugged. "We were. We are." She corrected herself quickly. "There's a but coming." Sophie gazed at Melissa appraisingly. How to explain what she was feeling when she couldn't really explain it to herself? "But I'm wondering if this is it," she said eventually. Hearing the words aloud caused her stomach to lurch. It scared her. Melissa's dark eyes narrowed slightly. "How's work going?" God, she was infuriating. How did Melissa know so much about what she was thinking and feeling? "It's great," she replied, her tone of voice at odds with her words. "And therein lies the problem." Melissa finished her tea with a satisfied slurp and put the mug back on the table before crossing her legs underneath her and steepling her fingers in the manner of a miniature tribal chief. "I'm right, aren't I?" Sophie started to nod miserably, then stopped herself. Was she right? Had Sophie really become so shallow that her exciting new job as TV news producer was causing her to look at Steve in a different light? Did the other guys she worked with at the TV company make Steve's role in HR management look a little, well, dull by comparison? As the thought skittered through her head, she almost cringed with shame. She thought back to when she and Steve had met during their first week at university. They were in the same small tutor group and would often study together in the university library or in Sophie's room whenever Melissa, who was her roommate, was out. He was funny and clever, and out of all of them seemed the most likely to succeed. Although Steve was tall, blonde, and good-looking, it never really occurred to Sophie that he could be anything other than a friend. But gradually they also started socialising together, and before long they were seeing each other most days. It was during a drunken end-of-term house party when she saw him kissing Natalie Evans, the most beautiful girl in their year, who funded her way through university by modelling for John Galliano, and often wore a t-shirt.